So while we're on the 5th Street Southwest Cycletrack, that's 12th Avenue in the front there. So they've taken up an extra lane in order to enable the good folks at NMAX to do the kind of work they need to do. But instead of having the cyclists directed to the sidewalk, they take an extra lane of traffic and hinder commerce, hinder mobility in the city of Calgary. This is not the city I grew up with. This is not the city of common sense. This is a city that has pretty much lost its mind. And it's a sign of the new urbanism, very impractical. Will give ideological triumphalism to cycletrack users, and the cars just have to fit in wherever they may, but they are not a priority according to the identity politics of the urbanists, Calgary City Council and Mayor Nenshi. So we're proceeding west on 13th Avenue, and you have the historic Lougheed House here, and a very quiet road east-west 13th Avenue that would make a perfect and safe cycle track. Even the sidewalks here are a little wide. They're wider than the normal suburban sidewalks, so there isn't really a problem as far as pedestrians and cyclists if the cyclists act as if they too have to obey the laws. But I would like to suggest an alternate to the 5th Street Cycletrack, and that is 6th Street. This is a quiet street. There's no problem with maybe giving a little more extra snow clearance on this street that could be done by regular machines rather than the snow track brusher. This can be a north-south. Now look, yes, it crosses the historic Lougheed House grounds. This is a great cycle path way to get from one place to another. There is a barrier, you have to do a little jogging when you get down a little farther. But rather than congest a major street, north-south street, 5th Street, this is the place where the bike track should go. Again, going north, this sidewalk on either side is suitable for cycling, sharing with pedestrians. It's not that busy. Coming up on 12th Avenue. So this 6th Street Southwest is the alternative to the obstructive 5th Street Southwest Cycletrack. It should be over here if it's anywhere. And the 5th Street Cycletrack seems to be the busiest of them all, but we have to account for the funneling effect. The funneling effect of all these north-south cyclists being put in one street, which makes it seem a lot busier than it would be. Now their plan is to put more and more of these in, so the more you have, the less traffic there is to justify a cycle track. So we're proceeding north of 12th Avenue on 6th Street Southwest, and still this is not that heavily used a pedestrian route. So if you're uncomfortable with going on the street with the cars, you could be on the sidewalk. This can be granted by a bylaw change. And so now we're going to come up, heading our way past 11th Avenue to 10th Avenue, which is going to be the jog in the cycle track going north-south. This is where it should be, folks, not where it is. Congestive, highly disruptive cycle track on 5th Street. So now we're at 6th Street Southwest and 10th Avenue. So obviously the rail tracks are in front of us, and I'm proposing that the cycle track to be moved from 5th Street over to 6th Street here, a lane marked only, not a barrier cycle track, would be able to go down 10th over just one block. And cyclists are great for exercise. And one block over to get under the underpass at 5th Street. And I have a solution there as well. This should be nothing for the fitness-minded cyclist. If you have an ideological triumphalist that must be seen displacing busy car lanes with a cycle, then this won't work for them. So now we're proceeding east on 10th Avenue. And here's construction going on again, Axiom. Very busy company in Calgary. But there could be easily a provision for a cycle track if this barrier was even kept up and made available for cyclists while this is going on. And I'm sure as urban design standards, the sidewalk that will exist after the construction will be a wide one and fully usable for cyclists who are uncomfortable on the road. But remember, you're just going one block to the west from the 5th Street underpass under the rail tracks to the alternate cycle path on 6th Street Southwest. So we're going east and we're about to turn the corner here on 5th Street underpass, 5th Street Southwest. Cycletrack is currently taking up one whole lane on the east side. But when this construction is done with the underpass refurbishment, look how wide this sidewalk is. Easily, as they have done under the one under Olympic Way, a designated cycle path without a barrier on this sidewalk taking up a portion. So this eliminates the necessity of having a cycle track in with the traffic and taking up a vital lane that is critical to the exiting, particularly in the evening, of cars from the core of Calgary. So this is not a rush hour. You notice the conflict point here at this intersection of 5th Street and 10th Avenue Southwest. You see the turning lane. People have to try and turn on to 10th. They have to cross the cycle track looking both ways. Cyclists could come from the north or the south. It's easiest for them to see the ones coming from the south, but quite difficult actually to see the ones coming from the north. So this sets up a point of conflict, which results in near misses and some hits. So cycle tracks aren't all what they're cracked up to be, folks, in terms of safety. They actually give a false sense of security in these green box zones of vulnerability, and the results can be tragic, especially now the snowflakes are coming down. It's December 1st, 2016 now, but especially when the road markings get covered up by snow, there's no indication there's even a cycle track here under snow, and we haven't seen that yet because we've had very mild weather for the past 2 years. But wait for the first few snowstorms to really bring this kind of danger into sharp relief.